It was supposed to be just another quiet night, the kind of night that passes without leaving a memory. No plans, no excitement, just the familiar comfort of routine. She had finished everything she needed to do. The room was silent, and outside the window, the city lights blinked slowly like distant stars. Everything felt normal. Tout normal. She had been living this way for a long time, carefully, cautiously, always keeping her emotions under control. She had learned early that giving in to certain feelings could complicate life in ways that were difficult to undo. So she built walls, invisible rules that kept her steady. Don't think about it. Don't get curious. And whatever happens, don't let the feeling grow. Those rules had worked for years. Whenever that quiet temptation tried to surface, she would immediately push it away. She distracted herself with work, conversations, anything that kept her mind busy enough to ignore it. But that night, something felt different. The silence around her wasn't comforting anymore. It was heavy, almost like the room itself was waiting for something. She tried to ignore the feeling at first. She picked up a book, flipped through a few pages, then put it back down when she realized she hadn't read a single word. Her mind kept drifting somewhere else, back to the same thought she had been avoiding. It appeared quietly, like it always did, a small whisper inside her mind asking the same dangerous question. What if you stopped fighting it? She shook her head immediately, almost laughing at the idea. No, she whispered to herself. Not tonight? She had said that before. Not tonight. Not this time. Not ever. But the strange thing about resistance is that the longer you hold it, the more exhausting it becomes. She stood up and walked toward the window, hoping the cool air might clear her thoughts. Outside, the night stretched quietly across the empty streets. A few distant lights flickered, and somewhere far away a car passed by, its sound fading into the darkness. Everything looked peaceful, yet inside her mind, a quiet storm was beginning to build. The thought returned again, stronger this time. What if you stopped resisting? Her heart beat a little faster, not because she was afraid, but because a part of her knew exactly what the question meant. For years, she had treated that feeling like a danger she needed to avoid. But what if it wasn't dangerous? What if the only reason it felt so powerful was because she had spent so much time denying it? She leaned against the window frame, staring at her reflection in the glass. For a moment, she barely recognized the person looking back at her. Someone careful. Someone controlled. Someone who had spent years making sure nothing unexpected could disturb her life. But suddenly, another thought appeared. What if control isn't the same as happiness? The question startled her, because it felt honest. Too honest. Her mind replayed the past few years in quiet flashes. All the time she had walked away from something that might have been exciting. All the moments she told herself it was better to stay safe. And maybe it was. Maybe those choices protected her. But tonight, something inside her felt tired of protecting. The silence in the room grew deeper, and she realized something that made her chest tighten slightly. This wasn't about anyone else. It wasn't about a situation or a person or a moment outside of her control. This was about her, about a feeling she had been holding back for so long that she almost forgot what it felt like to let it exist. She closed her eyes for a moment. Her thoughts raced through every reason she should keep resisting. You'll regret it. You'll complicate everything. You'll lose the stability you've built. But another voice quietly responded, or maybe you'll finally understand what you've been avoiding. Her eyes opened slowly. For the first time in years, she stopped pushing the feeling away. She didn't act on it. She didn't make any dramatic decision. She simply allowed herself to acknowledge it. And that small change felt surprisingly powerful. The strange tension she had been carrying suddenly shifted. It didn't disappear, but it became clearer. The truth was simple. She had never been afraid of the feeling itself. She had been afraid of what it might reveal about her. But standing there in the quiet of that night, she realized something important. Some emotions aren't meant to be defeated. They're meant to be understood. She took a slow breath, feeling the weight of that realization settle inside her. For the first time, she wasn't fighting the thought anymore. She wasn't trying to bury it or distract herself from it. She simply let it exist. And in that quiet moment, something inside her finally relaxed. Not because everything suddenly made sense, but because the battle inside her mind had ended. The resistance she had carried for so long was gone. And as she looked out into the dark night beyond the window, she understood something she hadn't realized before. Sometimes the most powerful moment in a person's life isn't when they make a dramatic decision. It's the quiet night when they finally stop resisting who they truly are.